Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode. So this is already day 11, about a third. And the first thing I wanted to do was to improve some of the animations while holding a shield. Because we can see that it's not completely correct. So what I did, especially with the falling animation, fix the hands. Now I'm doing it in Unreal Engine here. In an ideal world you would probably do this using Blender or Maya. But because I actually wanted to see what the Unreal Engine experience is, I wanted to give it a shot here. And I must say, it worked fine. It's a little bit of fiddling, but it worked out. So I made sure that the hands would actually close properly and then would animate correctly while falling. So after I did this, the animations looked way better, and I knew a little bit more about animation editing inside Unreal Engine. So for now, I'm happy with the result. So after day 11, this is pretty cool. We have fine animations for sword and shield, and we will maybe revise this later, but for now, I'll keep it this way, and I'm happy. Showed a sneak peek last time, but the next thing I wanted to work on was the arrow and the bow. So I wanted some ranged weapon in there, and the first thing that I thought of was the arrow and the bow. I already had a rigged bow, so that means it is able to extend as if you are drawing the bow. Now, a bow is a little bit different weapon, so you have to hold it different. So the first thing I did was make sure that I had new animation for walking with a bow, and it would hold the bow properly. Next thing I added was player input. First, you need to draw the bow, then you need to charge the bow, and then you shoot it. To draw, you press the right mouse button. To charge, you hold your left mouse button, and then when you release your left mouse button, you will shoot. This is what most big games do. To make it actually look like I'm charging the bow, I had to combine the two animations from the player and the bow. While it's not perfect, I think it looks pretty cool and as if we are drawing that string. The next step was adding the arrow and make it look like you're actually shooting an arrow. Now this took a lot of fiddling, so you can see here it didn't look great at the start. It was very buggy, and it was as if you're just throwing an arrow. But after more fiddling, I got something that looked okay. So after picking up arrows, you could shoot them, and it looked okay. Now, up to the next challenge, which is making sure that we can actually aim and there is some kind of camera change, which I did here. You can also see that the upper body rotates following the camera, except I didn't really add any constraints to it. So he's, well, pretty unique in that sense. Maybe it's an ability. And after a little bit more of tweaking, especially of the animations that were used, I got something that kind of works. So you can hold the bow, you can aim, and the upper body will move. And when you are moving too much, it will use an animation to rotate itself, which is fine, except that you can see the bow is still fully charged, and it doesn't look super smooth. I'm happy with it now though. The only thing I need to add is actual aim, because it's pretty hard to aim at someone or something, and the arrows should bounce or stick into something whenever they hit something. I do realize that I've never mentioned that you actually need to pick up arrows, because there is an ammo counter. So if you don't have enough, you will not be able to shoot, and that way it's not too overpowered. To give you an idea of how the whole animation system works for the weapons, let's look at it. So you enter here in this state, in the entry state, whenever you are holding the mouse button to do an attack. So this is for sword and shield attacks, stabbing, for bow attacks, everything. So it will go to the correct state from entry to whatever weapon you are currently wearing. So either stabbing or maybe a sword and shield, and then with this whole system on top for the bow. Whenever you go to the bow, you first draw. So that's where you enter. Then from drawing, you will go to charging. So that's slowly pulling the string. Then from bow charging, you go to idle. So that means you have it fully charged. And this is currently the only place where we actually rotate left and right, dependent on whether we move the upper body too much. And when we are done with this, we release and we go to shoot. From there, it either goes back to the start and then we can go again if we hold the mouse button, or we go to walking or something else. So you can also release from bow charge to bow shoot, and that means you just shoot something with less power. So it's a very weak shot, but it's way faster because you don't have to fully charge. Let's see that in action. So we just draw the bow, we then charge, and then we are in idle, fully charged, and we can shoot. So we're back at charging, idle, and we shoot. And remember that if we are fully charged and we are idling, we have this system that we animate our rotation. So if we go to the right, we can see rotate right is being called. And if we go to the left, rotate left is being called. And that's the animation system there. And then we can shoot again. In the next episode, I'll work on enemy combat. See you then!